Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the future. I'm Zach Gardner, the chief architect at Keyhole Software, and you all know the drill. I got an itch that I needed to scratch about 3, 4, 5 months ago. I was hearing about generative AI this, generative AI that, and I had a little bit of FOMO, I guess you could call it. I needed to learn more. I needed to talk with people that were outside of my bubble. I needed to get exposure to people that just frankly were thinking about this longer than I have and also in different ways than I was to. So I scoured the internet. I went through the Rolodex, so to speak, and I got a lot of people that were crazy enough like me that just wanted to learn more about this thing, they just want to figure this thing out. They just want to learn more. So today with us, a man who needs little introduction, but I will let him introduce himself, a man whose prestige is only surpassed by his LinkedIn followers and the Millennium Falcon. I believe that was the one that went viral. That's actually how I found you. I don't know if you know that. It was the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, it's Titanic.
Oh, it was Titanic. Oh, hell yeah. Look at that. We're doing corrections live. We're doing it. Today with me on the program, Mr. Jeff Winter, the Senior Director of Industry Strategy and Manufacturing at Hitachi Solutions. Jeff, what's going on? How's it going?
I'm excited to be here. This will be a fun new type of conversation to have.
Very good. And of course, the disclaimer that's going to go on my tombstone because I've said it so many times. The views and opinions expressed in this program, the views and opinions of the participants do not reflect their employers, their trade organizations. It doesn't reflect any hotel chains that they have royalty points with. It's just two dudes. We're just talking. We're just having a good time while the eclipse is going on. So if my video gets a little dark, that's why. Now, Jeff, for those that haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, could you talk me through your career, your background? How did you get into digital transformation?
Sure. So currently, I lead the industry strategy for manufacturing with Hitachi Solutions. And what that basically means is my job to help point my company in the right direction to be a world-class digital transformation solution provider. In order to be good at that, I have to be intimately involved with what's happening in the industry, which is why I participate in so many industry associations, academic groups, research teams, advisory bodies, standards bodies, everything so that I can be more equipped and credible to provide that guidance. Now, my journey's kind of been pretty interesting over my career. I've been in the manufacturing industry my entire career, and I've had several different companies that I've worked with in several different roles. So I started in sales, and then I went into marketing, then I went into operations, then I went into strategy, then back into sales, and now I'm back into strategy again. But my journey of my topic has also changed over time. I did more industrial automation for the first part of my career. Then I focused on safety and that's where I kind of learned about thought leadership was when I was doing industrial safety. And then I was kind of assigned Industry 4.0 as part of my role back in December of 2018. I'd never heard of it at that point. No idea what it was. Is it a company? Is it a firmware update? I had no idea. So that was my job to kind of figure out what it was and what it meant to my company at the time. And I used all the skills I learned in becoming a thought leader and being involved in the industry from industrial safety, applied that to Industry 4.0. And I just kind of took off with the subject. I ended up really, really liking it and getting involved. And now, yes, I'm known as the guy who posts on LinkedIn all the stats and trends and industry benchmarks and industry insights, most of which people don't know. A lot of those things that I'm posting are things that I recently learned myself as well. So I'm sharing my journey publicly for people to see as I go through it.
So if you could go through, I mean, I come from a non-manufacturing background, so I will be honest about that. I'm not even a dilettante. I'm just a neophyte, as it will. So could you talk to me about like what is Industry 4.0? How is it different than Industry 3.0? Did we skip Industry 2.0? Like where did this term come from? Like, what does it actually mean?
Sure. So there's two concepts I like to explain with that because a lot of people use them interchangeably or get them confused. And one is digital transformation, and the other is Industry 4.0. And I'll start with digital transformation. So digital transformation in my view, I consider myself an audiophile, someone who really loves stereos and speakers and that sort of stuff, perfect sound reproduction. It's kind of like taking your old beloved record player and turning it into a smart voice activated music system that can play any song you think of, from classic vinyl records to the latest streaming hits. It's really about upgrading and integrating digital technology into every aspect of your life or your business, making processes more efficient and completely changing and enhancing the user experience for not just you, but everyone involved. Now, it's not just about slapping on some new tech and calling it a day. It's a serious journey. It's a strategy to fundamentally change how you operate and deliver value. Think of it like renovating a house. You don't just repaint the walls and move the furniture around. When you transform your house, you will be entirely changing the layout. You're going to be knocking down walls, adding on additions, replacing appliances, and fundamentally changing the way you live in your home. And in the digital world, this home will also become a smart home in the process by adding smart devices and an infrastructure to move into a new digital lifestyle. Now, in the business world, digital transformation is similar. It's about using digital tools and technologies to completely change the way you think about your business, how you provide value, how you make decisions, and how you manage, how you operate, how you collaborate, and even how you engage with the world. Now, Industry 4.0, a concept I love to talk about a lot now, describes the fourth industrial revolution, which really is the era that we're living in right now. And this revolution is characterized by a fusion of technologies, blurring the lines between the physical, the digital, and even in some cases, the biological worlds. It's a profound shift in how we produce, how we consume, and how we relate to technology. And it's a monumental shift because manufacture is such a colossal component of our society. I mean, it shapes the way that we work, it shapes the way that we buy, and it shapes the way that we even live. So the 4.0 term has become so famous that you're even seeing it being applied to other industries that it wasn't really even intended for. Government 4.0, education 4.0, finance 4.0 are all just examples being talked about. You could probably even Google more of them. Government 4.0, for example, encapsulates the move towards digital governance and the using technology to improve transparency and even citizen engagement and kind of delivery of the way that government services are provided. Education 4.0 speaks to the digital revolution in learning, where traditional classrooms are, supplemented or even complemented by virtual environments and personalization in how education is delivered. AI being a new big component of that. And Finance 4.0 reflects the seismic shift in the entire financial sector, with digital currencies, blockchain, fintech innovations transforming how we manage and interact with money. So digital transformation is really the strategy to transform using digital tools and technology. And I would say Industry 4.0 describes the vision of what we can do when we transform and the era that we're living in right now.
Mhm. Very well put. I'm sold. I'm jacked. And I don't know if you noticed, got my Audio Technica headphones on, talking about, being an audiophile. These things are very, very nice. So, you talked about the theme that I got out of that was like upgrading, innovating, being able to deliver things at a pace that our customers need us to deliver them at. And there have been a few seismic shifts, at least in my industry. There was single page applications, microservices, the cloud, not to be confused with the clouds above us, but like the Azures of the world, the AWSs. In terms of something that has just disrupted society, disrupted business, disrupted pathologically the way that we think about the world, ChatGPT. I mean, it's generative AI. It's really everywhere. And I'm curious, what's your take on how generative AI is impacting manufacturing, industry, digital transformation? What are you seeing people talk about? And maybe what are some of the opportunities that maybe aren't getting enough oxygen?
It's a great question, and everyone's talking about it. If you think about it, in the period just spanning late 2022 to early 2023, a short window, the rise of consumer-facing generative AI tools marked a significant shift in how both the public and how enterprises perceived AI's potential. And although discussions around generative AI's capabilities started with the introduction of GPT-2 in 2019, its full promise only became palpable to businesses recently. And while AI has already been on organizations' radars, generative AI has democratized its application, allowing it to permeate every business function. And this generative wave, I believe, is pushing AI from isolated applications to being an enterprise's central nervous system. I mean, economic projections suggest that the AI evolution or revolution could infuse the global economy of 2.6 to 4.4 trillion dollars annually, according to McKinsey Global Institute. In addition, they're anticipating AI potentially bringing forward the automation of half of all of work to a decade earlier than expected.
Hmm.
Its influence on everything and everyone is undeniable. And simply put, ChatGPT single-handedly increased everyone's interest in the whole field of AI. But to answer your question on what are they talking about, what is everyone talking about, this is a hard question because the answer is everyone is talking about it in every possible capacity. This is one of the few technologies that impacts every industry, every function, and even every role from the frontline worker all the way up to the CEO. And everyone's using it differently. According to Deloitte's 2024, The State of Generative AI, most people are excited primarily about generative AI's potential to improve efficiency, number one, and reduce costs, number two. But they also evaluate adoption levels across different functions and organizations, and IT and cybersecurity had the highest level, followed by marketing and sales and customer service, with legal actually at the bottom. But McKinsey ran a different study on AI in 2023 based off of which functions are seeing the biggest gains in revenue from AI and which are seeing the biggest cost reductions. And manufacturing was actually the department functionally that won the most amount of companies reporting revenue gains and the most amount of companies with 16% claiming over 20% or more revenue increase. In addition, it had the most amount of companies reporting cost reductions. That shocks most people. They don't realize that that's really where most people are gaining the value from. And it doesn't even matter if you were in manufacturing in that case, if you didn't have the function, you weren't counted in that report. Now, challenges, I would say most people struggle with monitoring regulatory requirements and ensuring compliance because it's brand new and we're all trying to figure out what the world is going to do with it. I mean, a lot's changed. You have to think ChatGPT's only been around for like less than 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they're also worried about establishing a governance framework for the use of generative AI tools and applications. Companies are struggling with that. So there are a lot of risks, both with public tools like ChatGPT and even like the new Gemini AI by Google, as well as just kind of how all the data is used in training all these LLMs. The world is trying to figure that out right now. So I don't have a great answer for like a specific thing that everyone's talking about, but the world is talking about it. CEOs are talking about it. People are talking about it. Schools are talking about it. And yes, even manufacturing is talking about it.
Mhm. Yeah, very cool. I mean, I'm trying to think of just another thing that had this kind of just super quick seismic impact. I mean, maybe it was the printing press, but even then it took a while for its proliferation. The steam engine, again, I mean, it takes a while, but with something like ChatGPT, where it's literally at your fingertips, it's really up to you to figure out how quickly you're going to be able to use these tools. And getting a competitive advantage, increasing revenue, decreasing operational costs, being able to plug something into your system that will have like an immediate impact. I mean, think about like Usain Bolt. If there was like something he could just spray on himself and be like, it just 3% more effective, he would like be running, quickly because he's Usain Bolt. He'd just be running to go get that stuff. And this is a tool that is just, it's out there like to your point, regulatory standpoint, the EU AI Act, there's still a lot of things that we don't know about it. There's still a lot of things that we might need to do safeguard wise, but I'm curious if you can talk to how you're starting to integrate it into, your personal, maybe as well as your professional life.
So those are two very different ways of looking at it. And I would argue everyone should be using it in both capacities. Basically, anytime you ever need to look something up in a computer or type anything into a computer, generative AI can and should be helping you as a individual or as an organization looking how to take advantage of all of your employees. So I'll start with kind of the personal aspect, kind of where are you using it? Everywhere. I think on average, ChatGPT alone, I think I use maybe 40 plus times a day, let alone the Gen AI capabilities through Microsoft Copilot built into the Microsoft products I have, or my own company's enterprise chat that they built. So the point is, I'm using it all the time. And if you're to go, well, where are you using it? Pretty much anytime I ever need to explain anything important, verbally or written, and that includes speeches, posts, my LinkedIn posts, emails, any important conversation, even this podcast. I used it to help me come up with some of the things that I wanted to say. Now, how I use it is something that took months to figure out. And I will share with you the pivotal moment of the I'm going to call it the trick
Mhm.
that I learned. And the trick is the way that you think about generative AI. You need to use it to boost your skills, not replace them. Let it offset where you're weak and enhance where you're already good. Basically, turning Tony Stark into Iron Man.
Hmm.
And so when I first started using ChatGPT, I treated it like an all knowing, all powerful wizard that could complete tasks for me because it knew the answers to basically anything. That is the wrong way to look at it. And if you do, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to get lazy. You're going to blindly rely on it and you're going to get burned. Don't use it to answer things for you. Use it to help you with answers. So here's an example of how I would use it on a daily basis. Let's just start with content generation because most people know me as the guy making all these posts on LinkedIn. So let's say I craft a presentation. And when I do that, I write in the notes for the presentation what I want to say, the key things that I want to convey in that particular slide. And I do it for the entire presentation. I use ChatGPT to summarize what I wrote in all those notes to turn it into an abstract. It actually does a better job summarizing my own presentations that I wrote than I do. And I've also used it to take my notes from my presentation and turn it into, let's say, an 800-word article. But here's another example. I use ChatGPT to help me with specifically my post creation. Let's say I'm going to talk about the top 4 trends in supply chain. I give it the top 4 trends in supply chain. I set the structure for the post in terms of how I want it to flow, in terms of what I want it to answer and the way I want to post. And then I even give it an example of one of my other posts that it should use to stylistically write the same way as I do. So it looks and feels like Jeff Winter. Now, did you notice here, ChatGPT didn't come up with the answers. I did. I just use it to help me write in my style, faster and better. And it saved me time. It didn't replace me. And that was the profound realization. ChatGPT has mediocre answers to things, and its native style that it just writes is fairly obvious and easy to detect after using it for just a few months. Now that I've used it hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands of times, I can generally tell if something was written by ChatGPT. So you have to understand what ChatGPT is good at. It's good at content creation, especially idea generation or analogies and relevant or coherent text or images. It's good at semantic search. It's good at code generation, which isn't something I really use it for, but it's good at that. And summarization. The things it's not good at, real-time information, specialized or technical knowledge. So if you're trying to be an expert on something, don't use it to replace your specialized or technical knowledge. It's not good with complex decision making or reasoning, and it's not good at expressing your opinions. So use it to complement what you're weak at to help you be more effective than replace the things you are good at.
Oh, for
So that's
sure.
probably the biggest example.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, whoa. Your experience, I think, echoes a lot of what other people that I've been talking to have said. This is, I really like the way that Microsoft is sort of framing this. It's not, like you said, a replacement. It's at best a co-pilot. It's there to help you. It's there to help complement you in terms of in my field, using it for code generation, being able to use it to just summarize a legacy code base. These are all things that would have taken me just a monumental amount of time. And if I, as a professional in my field, can save like 5, 6, 7% of my time, that decreases the amount of time, the amount of money that it takes to develop custom software. It helps deliver to market faster. It helps generate more revenue. Any developer in sort of my field that isn't using it, I mean, they're doing themselves a disservice as long as you're using it appropriately. And so I like the way that you talked about just having it aid you. You're still generating your own ideas, but idea synthesis, being able to get through writer's block. I mean, that is uh, A plus answer, Jeff.
Well, I love the
The nail the pop
analogy
quiz.
of Tony Stark putting on his Iron Man suit.
Yes.
He's not having a robot go fight for him. He's making himself more powerful.
Right. Right. So, to kind of wrap it up, where if people are interested more about Industry 4.0, if they're interested in digital transformation, if they want to see some of the funny pictures that you generate, I'm a big fan, as you can tell, I like the video medium. Where can people go? Where are you active on?
Well, obviously, LinkedIn is my primary platform. I make 5 to 6 posts a week on Industry 4.0 or technology trends that are applicable to manufacture, but applicable to other industries as well. Through that, you'll learn about all my speaking engagements, my writing, my articles, and everything that I'm doing out and about in the industry. So I'd encourage you to follow me if you want to stay current on that stuff.
For sure. I always like the comment threads too. I've met a lot of really interesting people that reply to your comments and just get connected to them. So, if nothing else, folks, it's fun to just join the party. It's fun to have a gala. So, no, Jeff, thank you very much on this beautiful eclipse day for joining me in this virtual world.
Well, thanks for having me here.
Anytime, and ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you in the future.